Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. It's Friday evening here in London. I've got that Friday feeling, and I can think of no better way than to slide into the weekend with a celebratory launch of a brand new Gushu Sheng PuErh tea cake. Let's have it. This is the Pernickety Pleasureseeker. Here we go. A 2022 spring Bingdao Gushu Sheng PuErh, estimated tea tree age around 200 to 250 year old tea trees. Bingdao, I keep saying it, it is one of my favorite tea producing areas of Yunnan. We taste all of our tea samples blind, so I don't know anything about them. I know nothing about the price, the producer, the supplier, the area, nothing. And we select, well, I select my favorites, and invariably a Bingdao is in there. At least one Bingdao is in the shortlist. So this is the Pernickety Pleasureseeker. You can see, I think it's a crane, although I may stand corrected. A crane sitting at a very posh restaurant. Solo dining, a private session with the Pernickety Pleasureseeker. We imagined a food critic, a very picky food critic, tasting a very high-end meal, having like a private session, maybe a chef's table session, private session for this food critic. Do you know anybody in your life who is particularly picky's not the right word. Pernickety is a sort of, it could be seen as a negative, but I actually mean it as a positive. I put myself as one of those people that I take my food very, very seriously, both the sourcing and the cooking and the way that it's presented. But I'm very I have my radar up for particularly sort of gimmicky food, especially with high-end restaurants. It can be a lot of style over substance, although of course you can have incredible high-end restaurant meals. But you've got to sort of separate the gimmick and the storytelling from the actual experience of tasting the food, just like you do with tea. And this particular tea just caught my attention because it is, in my opinion, very different. It has that sort of really interesting, or at least the Michelin-Starred did, has that very interesting sort of slightly fusion, and I know that can be seen as a negative, but fusion in the best way possible, taking ingredients that you don't normally sort of consider them being together and putting them together, and when you taste it, it's just like, wow, that just works, and you can't describe why. It's just a flavor profile that is unique. And when I tasted this tea, I thought, wow, there's something very unique about this tea. It reminded me of the kinds of experience, the good experiences that you can have at those sort of Michelin-Starred or, high dining experiences, because they sort of just like raise your attention to pairings that you would never have thought would work together. Like I can remember, let's see, chocolate and curry ice cream, curry powder ice cream, or curry leaf ice cream. Just a delicious combination that I would have never thrown together. And so you have this crane here at this fine dining, lavish, majestic restaurant. I mean, you can see that there's an interesting dish in front of him that involves uni, but involves other fruits and other things as well. So we're going to taste it and see if the experience of the Michelin-Starred carries across. So we've kept this one aging in cake form for nearly a year. It's a 2022 tea. And so we're doing this now a lot more. We're selecting which teas we release absolutely fresh as soon as we get them, and which ones we're going to leave a little bit. Bingdao, I think, really benefits from leaving for a little bit. Look at the leaves. So the scope of this tea, this is spring 2022, so it's a spring pick tea. This is cultivar Dayajong variety, the broad term that we use for these big leaf tea trees. Age of the tea trees around 200 to 250 years estimated. The origin is from Bingdao, as I said, one of the most revered areas, but it's not just about that. There's something about this area that just always captures me, and I'm always picking it. It seems to be year in, year out. Picking on this is going to be a bud. You can see lots of buds, and up to the third leaf, elevations around 1,800 meters. The look of the leaves, a combination of those lovely silvery green buds. You've got some khakis, you've got some plums, and rosewood larger leaves in there as well. Let's get in there. I'm very interested to see how this tea has matured and whether or not that really intriguing combination of tastes has persisted through its cake pressing and aging. Got another one here. Oh, the luxury of having your own tea company. Right, let's see how much I've got here. I'm going to do a little estimate. 7.2. Ooh! Yeah, I'll give myself that. 7.2, there you go. 7.2 grams in here. Got the Temple Guy one, got the frog, got the Lotus Gong Dao Bei, and got my lily pad cup. Rocking and rolling into the weekend. You know, it doesn't matter how old you get. I don't know what it is, but Friday, it's around 5:30, 6 p.m. around this time. Just always happy about it. Even though I tend to work over the weekend, so I don't really, you know, but there's just something about, it's like, you know, it's just harks back to when I was a kid, I guess. Okay. Let's get these leaves in and see how they smell. The Pernickety Pleasureseeker, for those who really take their food very, very seriously and seek out extraordinary experiences. Here we go. Okay, on the nose, a combination of fruits and toffees. I am smelling like a fermented yeasty rising dough or rising pancake batter or gaufre. Yeah, like waffle batter that's proper yeasted, like the Belgian style yeasty. Ugh, I love that. Again, Pernickety Pleasureseeker. Waffles for me, they have to have yeast in. I mean, it's just I can't deal with waffles that are, you know, just risen through sort of baking powder. So a yeasted smell. I'm getting a butterscotch, toffees. I'm getting a black currant jam. There's some flowers in there as well. Touch of like orchid. Yeah, pancake batter, toffee, blackcurrant jam, orchid. So far on the nose, let's give it a rinse. There you go. There's a salty note as well in there. Oh, yeah. Salted plums, cherry, like stewed cherries or cherry jam over vanilla ice cream. So the vanilla ice cream, you know, it's light and creamy, but then the depth of very good, deep, you know, woodsy vanilla in there. Not this sort of light vanilla, you know, blonde vanilla essence. It's just deep and dark and fudgy. with all of those cherry jams and blackcurrant jams. Salted plums. I'm getting a touch of nori as well. So a little bit of that toasted seaweed in there. That adds that sort of umami and savory note to it. A bit of interest. Again, a sort of fusion of flavors going on there with those blackcurrant jams and the cherry jams and the fermented waffle batter, you know, and the ice cream is all nice and sweet. But then you've got those, you know, the savory nori, salted plums. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's all. It's just interesting. It's an unusual smell. You will often have PuErhs that have toffees and caramels, but that combination of that with then the fruit and then the salted plums and nori is interesting. It's a very interesting combo. Right, let's get this up. Oh, it's 96 degrees, perfect. Get this in here. So prunes and plums. It's also like that fermented smell lends itself a little bit to like a fermented plum liquor, right? So liqueur, I should say. So like plum wines. No, more like plum strong alcohol, you know, in there. So it's got a mature smell to it. Mature as in a little bit more adult. It's around 25 seconds-ish. It's going to get darker. So this is the first infusion. It's got a nice sort of light, pale whiskey gold. Oh, the deeper notes are coming through again. I'm picking up it reminds me of whole wheat cereal, like whole wheat cereal flakes. So it's got a slightly toasted, but warm and warm grain note to it. But then I'm picking up all of those cherries and blackcurrant. So imagine you have one of those cereals that have like dried fruits in it. But in the smell of this, the smell of the fruit is more jammy and more fermented. Okay, let's go. My first sip in a while. I have tasted it since it's arrived sort of every couple of months. So this is my first proper taste for like at least 3 months of this tea. The last time I tasted it was in 2022. So let's see. Texture. It's thick. It's thick. It's filling. It's rounded, but it then very quickly seems to get absorbed by my mouth. It's sort of got that isotonic quality to it. That sports drink quality to it. It just plumps up my my tongue and the insides of my cheeks. So it's an interesting texture in the mouth. Thick. Not really that oily. Just thick and mineral, and then gets absorbed in a beautiful way. Taste. Just opening up. I'm getting those butterscotches. I'm getting that cereal that I talked about. It's got a darker, grainier sort of quality, dark grain quality to it. I guess if we were referring back to those waffle batter, it does taste like a yeasted waffle, but a little bit like a dark caramelized yeasted waffle, which is what I actually really love. Those Belgian waffles that have that dark caramelization that's just on that point where the sugars are starting to go to that point where the caramel's going to get a little bit of that bitterness, but that bitterness is just before the threshold. So it's like just like a darker sugar quality to it. The fruits are still there, but I'm actually getting a very bright candy fruit note to it. Let me brew up again, and I'll see if I can describe that a little bit more. Yeah, it's got a candy note. It's still got that cherry jam, still got the blackcurrant jam to it. But there was a little candied note as well. The Pernickety Pleasureseeker. When I picked that name, I was hoping that you wouldn't take the Pernickety to be too negative. He does look like a little bit of a serious character, and I would say that it suits this tea. This is a sort of this is a serious foodie tea, foodie style person tea, like the kind of person that would go to one of those restaurants and really sort of focus all their attention on the taste, texture, and experience of a dish and try to sort of assess their opinion on it. One of those types. But ultimately, for pleasure, it's the Pernickety Pleasureseeker. Finding pleasure in unusual tastes. Although nothing particularly unusual so far in these tastes. The only thing, as I said, that sort of has that intrigue is that combination of the salty, the seaweed mixed with the fruits and the vanillas and the batter. The texture in the mouth is definitely very interesting, but we'll talk about that finish afterwards. As I said, color is darkening, you can see. But it's still got that whiskey golden color. Cheers, everybody. Okay. The intrigue is moving through. How to describe this? So it's got this deep twang to it that I would associate with a very, very, very deep vanilla woodsiness combined with, just going to drink from the Grand Abbe there, combined with that blackcurrant. Although on the cover I called it as blackberry. Can you see on that dish there's blackberry? Yeah, blackcurrant, blackberry, deep vanilla woodsiness, and I'm talking about the woodsy, like the husk of the vanilla rather than the real aromatics of the vanilla. And that twang gives it a slight acidity in the mouth, but very, very slight. Something more though. Something non-food like in there. I'm going to have to work on it. That candy note is there. I'd say it's love hearts. So quite powdery, sherbety in terms of its candied note to it. But it's that something else which I'm going to have to work on. And then in the aftertaste, that creaminess is there. And those noris, yeah. I don't think I'm imagining it because of the cover, and those of you who've spotted it have spotted it already. But it has a distinct, like iodine, like uni creaminess. When I say uni, I mean sea urchin creaminess. Now, sea urchin is going to be the divider here, right? But I want to say it very clearly. This is not strong in terms of that taste. It's in the background, just a slight creaminess. And if I didn't say it, you probably wouldn't notice it, in the sense that you would probably notice it as like a creamy note, but I pick up that distinct what I love about uni, and I love uni, is, you know, how something can be so rich and so creamy and have amongst that have a real distinct mineral quality, which, you know, I'm throwing on sort of the iodine like notes to it, but a very, very, very mineral quality. And the finish of this tea is extremely mineral. Bingdao being very famed for its, you know, potency in terms of minerality. It's there, very, very mineral. And that has a quenching, puckering, filling feeling. It's very physical, and that minerality releases in a sort of time release manner. It's not like, you know, it's a quick release. It releases, but it releases in this creeping cherry sweetness, cherry and toffee again, sweetness. But I still got to dive further into this tea and understand that deeper note. So on the front cover, we put an uni dish with toffee and blackberry and a little bit of mint. I'm not picking up the mint right now, but I'm picking up lots of the toffee. I'm picking up lots of the fruit, cherry, blackberry, blackcurrant in that territory. And then just in that background, that mineral creaminess that I originally had associated with uni sea urchin. I can sense some of you are watching with intrigue like this. Oh, that sounds interesting. Be interested to try that. And some of you are going, ooh, that sounds interesting. Not sure if I want to try it. So let me say it clearly. The predominance is the fruits, and the batters and the toffees. It's just the intrigue that comes from those deeper notes and that mineral creaminess. All right, third infusion. Always a winner with PuErh. The jasmine in the aftertaste. Jasmine and cherry. Jasmine and cherry in the aftertaste. Zingy, bright, tingly, fabulous, as only Bingdao can do. Cheers. Yeah, what is that? You have to let the imagery happen. I'll tell you what is going on in my head, but it's not going to make any sense. I'm seeing lots of cherries. I'm seeing a grand piano, like, so it has a lacquered wood quality to it. The non-food descriptor, it's not leather, it's not vinyl. I don't know, it's something else. Like in my mind, I'm seeing strapping, like, I don't know what it's like these woven strappings that you use for like gymnastics or climbing. You know, I don't know what material that is, but there's something that's fabric-like in the taste as well. I think that I did think about that before, because I remember like saying we need to put like fabric on the chairs and on the tablecloth. Oh, and the slate I wanted it on a slate. It's all coming back to me now. On a slate table mat, if that makes any sense. So there's the mineral, there's the fabric, there's the cream, there's the fruits. I'm not getting the mint, but that might come later in the aftertaste. And surprisingly now, I'm getting orchids and jasmine in the mouth. So interesting. So like a combination of flavors that really work. And I can't really recall tasting in a PuErh. And at the same time, very light and easy drinking, right? I'm gonna breeze through a few more infusions and I'll be back with my final conclusions. All right, this is the 7th infusion. You can see color is just as dark, if not darker. Very, very active, very, very cloudy in there. You can see, not cloudy, but you can see that there's a lot of trichomes going on in this liquor. So the picking material, very, very nice early picking in 2022. Taste. The thing that is so striking about this tea is the aftertaste, is that cherry and jasmine. I love that. The mineral in it is there. It's a very mineral, slate mineral, like puckering quality in the mouth. And then that gentle release to this cherry and jasmine juiciness is gorgeous. Taste is like becoming sweeter and clearer, lighter. So those darker notes are lifting. Lots of the cherries and the black currants. I'm still not getting the mint, but what I am getting is like a vegetal quality to it in there as well. That reminds me of Dalmu pea shoots. So that sort of very young pea shoot, delicate young, but still vibrant taste that still has a bit of that, the soil, the earth in there, you know, the shoot taste versus something that's sort of vegetables that have sort of grown and developed. So it's got that very young pea shoot sort of greenness in there. It's light, but it's there. Yeah, very, 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 very drinkable. As I said, albeit puckering. Body sensation. It's a very interesting one. It's definitely, you know, warming, it's heating. It's definitely got a buzzy feel, but the buzziness feels very contained. It doesn't feel like it is overflowing in any way. It feels like, in a way, it feels like it sort of stops about here. You know, it doesn't rise higher, and it's very nice. It sort of feels set. It feels like it's buzzy, but controlled. So I can imagine this being a tea that you would be able to quite happily drink on a Friday night, but also during the day, and it would allow you to still work without getting, you know, too crazy in the head, but definitely still buzzy. And more than just a caffeine buzz. There's something, you know, there's plenty going on here that is very feel good. Although, as I said, it is that Friday feeling. I'm feeling good anyway. But yeah, it's definitely putting me in an even better mood. The Pernickety Pleasureseeker, a fascinating combo of flavors that you don't often find, and something that again shows off Bingdao. You can see the leaves. Quickly show them to you. Oops. Soft, supple, young pickings. That's why there's so much potency, and also in the liquor, it's got that activity. Yes, my Temple Guy one is chipped, and that's really annoying me. But hey, so be it. Chipped teaware is loved teaware. The Pernickety Pleasureseeker. Seek it out if you want a distinctly unique PuErh experience. That's it, tea heads. Check out our other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I'm Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags, keep drinking the good stuff, and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.